Let's do this. Spawning in the top right position as our red Terran player coming in for Axiom Esports. It is Heart. And spawning in the bottom left position as our blue Zerg player coming in for MVP, taking that nice first game off of Ryung with just some slick control and picking off those Widowmines left and right. It is Sniper. So, like I said the first time we tried to host this game, Heart, a player definitely not a stranger to crazy builds, all-ins. He doesn't have an SCV sent out already, so it's not going to be anything like a Proxy 2 Racks. We could see him go for the Command Center first build. He could go for the Reaper play. It's just kind of been some of the staple builds, really. Most Terran players are either going for the Command Center first into the Bio Widowmine style, or they're just going Reaper expand into Bio Widowmine, generally off of 3cc. So, Drone Scout actually being sent out by Sniper. He wants to make sure that Heart's not up to anything too tricky. And this isn't a bad idea at all. And Heart's actually going to go for the Command Center first. So SCV's queued up. This isn't unusual to see at all out of our Korean Terran player. You may recognize him from his runs through the GSL and especially MLG. This guy's an MLG powerhouse, let me tell you. Of all the games they don't broadcast at the events, this guy always makes it so deep into the bracket, even if he's rarely shown on main stage. So he is no stranger to competition. And ooh, Sniper going for a bit of a block here, delaying that Command Center from getting put down, make sure it's not on the low ground, and he just ducks up, wants to make sure it's there on the high ground. So no pool just yet. At this point, Sniper could actually just go build another hatchery instead of getting a spawning pool, but can be a little bit risky if Heart decided to do something like go for a second barracks very quickly. So we'll have to see if he wants to take the gas, or it will be the gas. So nothing out of the ordinary here for Heart. He's got the barracks rolling on up, and natural expansion for Sniper is coming in. So I think based off of what we saw in game number 1 from Sniper versus Ryung, it's probably going to be the same style. Zergling, Baneling, Mutalisk, and I really, really like that he made a large amount of Mutalisks at first for the pressure, but he made sure to always keep a couple of them scanning the map, bringing Overseers with them just to pick off Widowmines. Even during the fights, he was so focused on picking them off, and it really paid off in big dividends because Ryung had to constantly be replacing them. We saw one time Ryung had 6 Widowmines queued up. He needed to make sure he had more. He was realizing that was kind of the brunt of his defenses during these fights. And, well, Sniper, I'm curious if he's going to go for any kind of greedy play, or it looks like it's probably just going to be on the 4-Queen opener. It looks exactly like the last game's open, but now Heart is getting his factory. I do not think we're going to see the same Blue Flame style opener out of our Axiom Terran here, but possibly just going to be Hellions, maybe a faster third Command Center. And there, that factory is going to be, that Command Center, is going to be moving down towards the natural expansion, and is going to be getting a reactor from this barracks for the factory. So nothing unusual here at all. SCV going around to scout these Zergling, ninjing its way. I believe the Overlord might have seen this, but he is going to be able to pick this SCV off. No big deal. And there is that third Command Center. So Heart's playing this a little bit more standard. This is something that we see out of almost every Terran in a best of 3 or 5 series. Just because of how concrete these builds have been worked out for the very fast Bio Widowmine play. And interestingly enough, we do have Sniper going for that gas again, so he is going to have the option to get the Lings, but the way he used it last game was just for fast double upgrades, which is not a bad decision at all, especially with how late Ryung's upgrades were in game number 1. We had Ryung, his 2-2 was about 30 seconds or maybe a whole minute, I think, away from completing, while Sniper had his 2-2. So it's just a safe way to play, especially because he can use the evolution chambers for walls. And now he's just going to take this third hatchery. So I think out of Heart, yeah, he's going to make this swap now. He's going to... Oh, that's actually interesting. It looks like he wants to get a siege tank for defense. A lot of metagamey styles of builds. No, oh my goodness, this is very unusual. Heart's just going to go for Blue Flame with 1 factory and start reactoring out Marines. This is not standard by any means. I've actually not seen this this opening before in Heart of the Swarm. This is very interesting. Not even a known opener in Wings of Liberty. This could be a very fast Blue Flame drop, actually. He could maybe try to throw up a Starport. He's going to immediately move this barracks over to just get a tech lab. He wanted to get a couple Marines to fill the bunker for defense, but Hart knows everything that he needs to. Fast third base. He doesn't know about the gas geysers in the natural expansion, but it's not going to be anything threatening. It's just 2 evolution chambers. He's going to be getting his 1-1 relatively quickly, and what an interesting build decision. I'm surprised there's not a Starport here from Hart just to go for a drop. He's not going to have a lot of Hellions. It looks like these are going to be purely to shut down any kind of mass Ling opener from Sniper, and this is one of the couple of ways that he can deal with a very popular meta strategy now from Zergs, trying to punish the fact that Terran players just don't make siege tanks anymore. And that's just throwing up a lot of Speedlings when speed finishes, going for a big Baneling attack, and just punishing Terrans that either don't have fast Widow Mines, and even then Widow Mines can be baited out and dealt with rather easily. So he's going to add on additional barracks, and this is pretty standard. But the Blue Flame it just strikes me so curious. He's invested 150 gas. That's delaying possible upgrades he could be having, the add-ons on these barracks, getting his Starport actually, which is so late, and he's going to build a reactor with the factory, possibly just move another couple barracks onto these 2 add-ons that are free. But yeah, he's just kind of perusing the map with 6 Blue Flame Hellions. Hart, not a stranger to mech builds, but maybe he's trying to trick Sniper here into thinking that this is going to be bigger than it is. It's just giving him some more harass options, it looks like, which isn't terrible, but it's just a slightly unorthodox way of going about this. The Hellions aren't going to be able to do too much damage, so it almost seems like it's just kind of a scare tactic. And one thing that it will allow him to do, though, is get this third base up very quickly if Sniper scouts this. And he does see this these SCVs here in the command center. So he could try to go for a big Ling attack. And I guess that's the key focus. These Hellions can really just shove them away, protect that base as much as he can. But now we have the Spire coming up for Sniper, a Roach Warren as well, and some Spine Crawlers for defense. Not unusual at all. But Baneling Speed's going to finish up with 1-1, and this is one of those opportunities for Sniper. If he wanted to, could just make a ton of Lings, go for a big attack. He's getting a Macro Hatchery now. And that defensive Roach Warren, which, I mean, he only got the Roach Warren in game number 1 after he saw Ryung's Blue Flame. He only got it this game after seeing the Blue Flame of Heart. So he really doesn't want to commit to Roaches. He's going to make Mutalisks, and I don't think he's going to be completely fooled by this, though. Terran players have been so lax to go mech. He actually scouted everything with the Overlord. He got that speed upgrade pretty early to be able to spot those. So Hart now has these Axiom Terrans. There's not terribly many of them. They all just stay in my mind so much. But the Hellions moving out towards the tower now. He has the Marine at the tower, and I have to say, Hart, now with these medevacs, I think this is a much better play to be able to go for a bit of aggression using this. It's kind of lining up to be a lot like Ryung's Stim Marine medevac Blue Flame Hellion timing, but it's a bit weaker with just a few less Hellions. It's just so out of the ordinary. But +2 attack starting out, +2 armor, +2 is going to be starting out for Sniper as well. The Mutalisks are ducking in, trying to do a little bit of damage, but here comes Hart. He's moving out onto the field. He doesn't have too much here to defend this. He's going to throw in a supply depot and some really bad supply blocks, actually, slowing down his production quite significantly. He has 3 depots halfway done now, but his production's been delayed by a pretty large amount. He has to use the supply drop to help keep his economy going. And with the current setup here and these couple of Widow Mines, I feel like this is one of those things that happens when you have a team that works so closely like Axiom. They kind of share these timings. But the Mutalisks coming in, attacking now, might be able to pick off the concussive shells. Not the biggest loss, but you know, it's a loss of anything, and he actually will be able to defend that. He's going to bring the Widow Mines here to defend, but he does have the Overseer, and with that speed upgrade, he's going to be able to keep up with the Mutalisks at least somewhat reasonably to scout ahead. And now the 4th hatchery is complete for Sniper. He's getting that 2-2 as I stated before, and just getting additional base defenses up, getting the Spore Crawlers to deal with medevacs. The Mutalisks are going to be running around, meandering over towards this main base, trying to find anything that they can grab. That Tech Lab is still sitting there pretty juicy. He's going to preemptively stim some Marines, saying, hey man, get away. I have Widow Mines, and we have Drilling Claws coming up as well for Hart. So he's going to be able to get that fast burrow. But now the Mutalisk ducking into the main base. He's going to try to just pick out this missile turret. Hart does not get the repair off in time. and he will lose a couple of workers. And at the same time, Hart's just saying, no, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to bring everything forward. But there's so many Banelings here. This could be a huge overextension. The Widowmines not connecting with any of the Banelings at all. And Hart, so many of these Marines in the yellow, in the orange, taking a lot of damage. The Baneling count still completely intact, detonating on the wrong units. And Hart could be in a bit of trouble here if Sniper tries to press forward. The Hellions got a couple of kills off, but there are so many Banelings with this force. And this is what happens if he can, he wastes the Widowmine shots. If those Zerglings get a surround on this Bioforce, the Hellions will help defend against that. But one good surround in this whole army can be completely evaporated by these Banelings. Drop getting cleaned up here, trying to move in. Hart will lose the medevac. A great catch here from Sniper, and Hart hasn't really been able to kill a terrible amount. He hasn't gotten a single drone kill this entire game. In the meantime, Sniper picked off 6 SCVs, and Hart, no 4th command center either, so to speak. He lost one of the gas geysers in his main base. He's trying to move forward with these Widow Mines, using them to cover his advance, but now looks like Sniper wants to just push in. He says, I'm coming for you, man. Baiting forward a couple. But the thing is, these Widow Mines just aren't hitting the targets that they need to. And Sniper, you can tell how much he practices against this sort of style. He's been really, really working the Widow Mines, not taking any big losses from them. He's got the Overseer just picking these off left and right. Gets a nice Widow Mine shot off there, but there's so many Banelings. Stepping forward is just such a scary prospect for Hart. And looking at the unit tab, how many Widow Mines? 6. Ryung almost never got over 20 Widow Mines. He had such a hard time getting that count up due to this diligent sniping from Sniper, I guess. And Ryung, Hart just having a bit of difficulty getting this 4th up. And I don't think this is a style that you can just pump off 3 bases and expect to win with, but now it looks like Sniper's coming in. He's baited all the Widowmine attacks, and all these Widowmines are going to die once again, and there's just so many Banelings and Zerglings moving in for Sniper. He has the +2/2. 3-3 is on the way for Hart, but Sniper might be looking to end this game before Hive really becomes an issue. It's on the way, though, and now the defense is here. 4th Command Center is on the way. He could be able to force a cancel on that. Should be able to drop moving in the main base. Hart trying to pick off some of Sniper's defenses. He sees the Hive. He's picking off a couple of drones, some Zerglings, but there's going to be too much here, and the Mutalisks will immediately waltz over to snipe this, just completely engulfing these Marines in those glaive worms, and now the Marines moving forward. The Banelings, though, they're catching up. He's got some Widow Mines, but he only has 3. That's not quite enough to guarantee maximum damage, especially if he just runs partitions off about 7 or so Zerglings to tank these hits. And now, oh my goodness, this is so tense. Hart at 177 supply. He's actually getting Thors out now as well to help deal with this Mutalisk threat, and also to possibly tank a Baneling. So not a bad decision. He doesn't have any upgrades for those, but it's not the worst thing ever. He does have +1 vehicle plating, which is kind of interesting. Possibly help those Hellions and the Mines against... the Mines do get that vehicle plating upgrade, so... But the Zerglings baiting out the Widow Mine shots. Now there's almost no active Mines. The rest of them aren't even burrowed. He's going to come in now, and it looks like Sniper. He's going to lose a couple Lings here, but there's just so many Banelings rolling in. Is Hart going to be able to hold? He's got a lot of bio. He's going to need some great splits at the same time, but there's just so much here. Some good splits, but the Marines, he's stimming again and again and again, and the health getting so low. These medevacs getting chewed up by the Mutalisks as well. Hart does have enough Marines, it looks like, to possibly shove these Mutas off. He really would like to kill this command center, but he's not going to be able to. And now 3-3 is about to finish for Hart, but he hasn't been able to build up the units that he needs. Let's look at the unit tab. He still only has 3 Mines. He's got 37 Marines, but the setup that Sniper has with the Ultralisks about to come out, he has the Cavern complete now. He's getting the Adrenal Glands, getting the Chitinous Plating, getting the +3/3, and the Mutalisk's going to run into the 3rd base. Barely any SCVs in here to begin with, but he's going to be able to pick off what is left. And Hart just getting knocked back and forth so much by these Mutalisks. Really great control from Sniper we've seen in game number 1 and 2, and now with the Ultralisks coming out, Hart doesn't actually have barely any Marauders, just a handful of them mixed into his army. The Thor has good DPS versus those, but he's got to deal with the Mutalisks as well. A drop prepared on the top side for Hart. The Zerglings will spot it. He's going to try to just catch this, and it doesn't look like Hart's going to be able to do any damage with this drop whatsoever. Going to get cleaned up. Will the Mutalisks come for the medevac? It seems so. He's trying to boost away. The Mutalisks just trying to barely catch him. He might be able to grab him if he gets there fast enough, but doesn't look like he'll be able to get away from that. But I love this. The Burrowed Zergling giving the vision of Hart's army. He knows exactly where everything is. But now the Thor throwing in a lot of DPS, and Sniper realizing, okay, you can't just step that close. Drop in the main base, going up 4. Heart trying to pick off the Spine Crawler, grabs a Queen. The Transfuse, though, really helping the survive, and it looks like we're going to have a bit of an engagement here. These Mutalisks, looks like a bit of a 1A syndrome, trying to get everything over to that drop, but the Mutalisks take quite a big chunk of damage. But more Ultralisks coming out now for Sniper, and Heart's going to try to make this push. He does have 11 Widow Mines, not the worst number to have, since he has been able to use this Thor to keep the Mutas off of his mines, but it's just such a hard try of engagement to take. He's going to split off 3 Medivacs, kind of realizing the best way to deal damage right now is with a lot of multi-pronged aggression. He needs to keep these Ultralisks and Banelings off of his back. The 4th base has been established. He does have SCVs mining there. These 3 Medivacs, he needs to get these off to do something. They're not actually headed anywhere. Heart, he's just kind of keeping them back at home. He needs to send those off to do something. At the same time, he has a large chunk of bio with this Thor at the top side, but the Mutalisks are here. He's got Infestors as well. 1 Fungal Growth could spell disaster. The mines are laid out pretty well. He's going to get some good hits off on the Ultralisks with the mines, but there's so many Banelings and Zerglings rolling up. He's not going to be able to get away. He's going to boost out now. And these 3 Medivacs, yeah, he had all the units in here. He didn't send them off for any aggression, so Sniper can continue to press forward. And Sniper's got the 5th base established as well in the top left. Pathogen Glands, a bit late for when these Infestors came out, but Heart having such a hard time getting up everything that he needs. I will say this, though. He does have still about 10 Widow Mines or so. Not ideal. 20 or so is where things get really difficult for Sniper to deal with them because of how much splash there is. The Banelings can just die so quickly, especially even if they're just next to the Ultralisks. The splash targeting will do a lot, but man, Sniper, he's maxed out now. He's going to be able to start accumulating a bank. Heart looks like he'll be able to max out at least once this game, but he has been trading so much. He actually hasn't really reached a good max, so he's actually moving into triple siege tank production, which isn't terrible for the number of Banelings, but getting siege tanks versus Ultralisks, they just have so many hit points. Ultralisks are so good at closing the distance to these units. It's going to be so rough for Heart trying to take a fight in the late game. The longer this game goes on, I feel the worse things are going to get for Heart, just because he's not building a really large late game centered composition. If he can get the mine count up, that'll help him a lot more. And he is at 14 now, but the Ultralisks look like they're going to charge in. These mines are going to get a lot of hits off. The splash will hurt some of the tanks as well. The bio trying to kite forward, running into the planetary fortress as well, but the Mutalisks are here too to throw in the damage, and the mines are going to trigger on those. The bio moving back and forth for Heart, but now dropping almost below 100 supply. Sniper staying strong, killing off the 4th base of Heart. The tanks trying to throw in their DPS. He has the mines here, trying to use them to hold this off, but that just doesn't look like it's going to work, and Heart's going to GG. Sniper taking game number 2 here for a nice 2-0 lead for MVP against Axiom in this best of 9 match. So, man, really great Mutalisk control, and like I said in the game against Ryung, I almost just kept calling Heart Ryung a couple times just because the game felt so similar. I felt like I was just watching a continuation of Ryung versus Sniper, but just on Daybreak with the great Mutalisk control. Picking off those Widow Mines left and right was so good from Sniper. I have no idea what Axiom's going to do against him. I'm not sure a Terran player is the best way to kill this guy, so we could see Crank come out next, possibly Mia. I'm really excited to see the next match, guys. We'll have to see who they send out next. But a 2-0 lead so far for MVP. Will the next guy be able to bring it back? Stay tuned. You're watching the Acer TeamStory Cup.